ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यामनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। Wonderful. Thank you, Mataji, for joining. I'll share my screen. Okay. So, yesterday or last week we actually started a chapter which is spontaneous devotional service, which is not forced devotion, but it just comes from the heart. A devotee is actually yearning to chant the name of Krishna, yearning to perform devotional service. We are not on that platform. So that's where we gave an example about um, Shishupal, Kamsa, and we also talked about Vrajavasis. So Shishupal and Kamsa, they also got liberation, but where did they end up? They entered into Brahman Jyoti, which is actually the light emanating from Krishna's body. But Vrajavasi went back to um, Golok Vrindavan. So this is what we covered. Now this is also covered. So I'm bringing it to this time. Srila Rupa Goswami is trying here to describe the different achievements of impersonalists and personalists. So there are, when we talk from spiritualist perspective, these are two primary categories. So one, which is called as personalist, they think Krishna is Bhagavan and he has a beautiful form, he has beautiful eyes, and his bluish color is so attractive. Krishna wears beautiful garments, Krishna wears beautiful jewelry. So for them, Krishna is a person. Those are personalists. The other category is impersonalists who think God is just an energy. He is not a person. And that is, these are the two people who are actually are spiritualists. Generally, those who are impersonalists and are inimical to Supreme Personality of Godhead get entrance into the impersonal Brahman, which is Brahman Jyoti. When and if they reach spiritual perfection, not necessarily that's their destination, but they have to perfect whatever impersonalism they are practicing. The impersonal philosophers, in one sense, like the enemies of the Lord. Why? Because they think God is not a person, is a light, is an energy. But Lord is energetic. From him, the energy is consumed. From him, the energy emanates. Because the out of out enemies of the Lord and the impersonal are both allowed to enter into the impersonal effulgence of Brahman Jyoti. So it is to be understood that they are of similar classification, and actually the impersonals are enemy of God because they cannot tolerate the unparalleled opulence of the Lord. That how Krishna lives Govardhan Hill, how Krishna is killing all the demons, they think that's a mythology. Then try always to place themselves on the same level with the Lord, because they think another category of impersonalists is actually, or Mayavadi, they think you are God, I am God, everyone is God, which is another problem, right? Because they are placing everyone equal to God, which is not right. That is due to their envious attitude. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has proclaimed that the impersonals to be offender of the Lord. The Lord is so kind, however, even though they are his enemies, they are still allowed to enter into spiritual kingdom and remain into impersonal Brahman Jyoti, the undifferentiated light of the Absolute. It's very beautiful. Krishna is one of the qualities, his magnanimity. That even who are actually enemies of God, enemies of Krishna, Krishna still allow them to enter into the Brahman Jyoti. So even in impersonalists, there are two impersonalists. One are actually envious of Lord, and they remain in human Brahman Jyoti, and then they come back in the material world, and then they struggle. And another kind of impersonalist are who have faith in God, but they connect with energy of the God better than Krishna, energetic. And slowly, when they come in association of devotees, they become bhaktas. For an example, Brahma's four sons, four Kumaras, or Sukadev Goswami, who actually spoke Srimad Bhagavatam. So they were actually impersonalist. They would actually were attracted by Brahman Jyoti of the Lord. But when they were connected to the Lord, they came in contact with the Lord. When they saw beautiful form of the Lord, they actually became personalist and they became great devotees of the Lord. Sometimes an impersonal may gradually elevate himself to the personal conception of the Lord I was just talking about. So Bhagavad Gita confirms that after many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me. Surrendering is the most important aspect of devotional service, where we actually accept Krishna is the doer, Krishna is the enjoyer, and Krishna is the proprietor. And when we understand, when we surrender to Krishna, he takes over the charge of our life. Rather than we struggling ourselves, he takes care, and then we are in safe hands. So by such surrender, an impersonalist can be elevated to Vankutaloka. But which impersonalist, like I mentioned about a impersonalist who is not envious of the Lord. Whereas as the surrendered souls, he attains the bodily features just like those of the Lord. In Brahmanda Purana, it is stated, those who have achieved liberation from material contamination. What is material? Which means actually dvandva. Dvandva means happiness and distress, winter and summer. Anything, they are not affected. Those are the people who are eligible for liberation. So what is the meaning of eligible for liberation? They actually get out of cycle of birth and death. They don't have to take birth again. But not necessarily they have bhakti. Bhakti is for personalist. Bhakti is not for impersonalist. And those who are demons and are killed by Supreme Personality of Godhead become absorbed in Brahman concept and reside in the spiritual sky for Brahman Jyoti. Because they came, yena kena prakarena, we have to come in contact with Krishna. And his bhakti, devotional aspect of it. That spiritual sky is far beyond the material sky, and last time we saw that it, it is confirmed also in Bhagavad Gita that beyond this material sky there is another eternal sky. The enemies and the impersonal may be allowed to enter into Brahman effulgence. But the devotees of Krishna are promoted all the way to the spiritual planet. Because the pure devotees have developed their spontaneous love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are allowed to enter into the spiritual planet to enjoy spiritual bliss in association with Supreme Personality of Godhead. So now one may say, so there are two paths, right? One is Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti, which is spontaneous devotional service. So we are on Vaidhi Bhakti. So one may ask question about How can I actually move from the Vaidhi Bhakti to um, Raganuga Bhakti, spontaneous devotional service? Now, this is very interesting because when someone attains that platform, Krishna becomes their servant. Like Arjun, he's a chariot driver for him. For gopis or for Yashoda Maya, he would go and get the shoes of Nanda Maharaj, putting on his head and give it to him. He becomes a servant. That's why spontaneous devotional service is not easily attained. Krishna has to give us. When Krishna is pleased with our sincerity in every aspect of our devotional service, whether it is chanting, reading, hearing, doing arti, or cooking for the Lord, various aspects, when Krishna sees that a devotee is sincerely trying to practice, then once he is pleased, then he actually can award that person Raganuga Bhakti, which is spontaneous devotional service. In 10th canto, 87th chapter, verse 23 of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Vedas personified address the Lord in this way. My dear Lord, yogis meditate upon your localized feature, which is Paramatma. Thus, they achieve the spiritual perfection of being merged into impersonal Brahman Jyoti. Persons who treat you as enemy achieve the same perfection without meditating. Very interesting. The gopis who are embraced by your serpentine hands and who have such lusty attitudes, which is actually out of love here, also achieve the same perfection because their body and soul are not different. So they are actually on the platform of love. And as far as we are concerned, being different demigods, this is actually a prayer offered by demigods. In charge of different parts of Vedic knowledge, we are always following in the footsteps of gopis. Thus, we hope to attain the same perfection. By the same perfection, must always remember the example of the sun and the sunshine. Those who are impersonalists can merge into sunshine like Brahman Jyoti, whereas those who are in love with Supreme Person enter into the supreme abode of the Lord Golok Vrindavan. So here devatas like Brahma, Lord Shiva are praying to become gopis because Krishna is actually subservient to gopis. There is this beautiful katha which happens. Krishna would actually tax gopis all the time. And then one time the gopis were going and then taking the butter to actually butter and then buttermilk to sell and then basically earn their livelihood. And Krishna was standing on the way saying that, you have to pay the tax because this road is mine. So they were not willing to give. And Krishna just broke it and then he took it. So gopis went to elderly gopis saying that, this Kana is daily troubling us. He's not letting us do that and he steals all our butter and buttermilk. So he's stealing the butter. So do something about it. So the gopi said, okay, tomorrow you again take it and we will actually go before and itself and we will hide out ourselves and we will punish him. So next day the gopis come bringing the butter, buttermilk and various milk products, and Krishna again comes and he says you have to give the tax. And the tax is I'm going to take all the butter and all that stuff. Immediately the gopis, the elderly gopis appeared from the scene and they caught hold of Krishna and his friends. And now they were punishing. So they were saying your punishment is you have to wear gopi clothes and you have to dance for us. So Krishna wore gopis clothes and actually performed the dance for the pleasure of gopis. So why am I sharing this pastime is that Krishna, imagine, he is willing to go to that position, that to dance for gopis like a Katputli. And that is the position of gopis. Srila Prabhupada again clarifies the previous point. The lusty attitude of gopis does not refer to any kind of sex indulgence which is referred in the material world. Srila Rupa Goswami explained that this lusty desire refers to the devotee's particular attitude of association with Krishna. So there are dasya bhav, sorry, first is the Shantya Bhav, then there is the Dasya Bhav, then Sakhya, then Vatsalya, and topmost is conjugal love, which is in the form of lover. That is considered to be highest. But this is not an ordinary relationship like a man and woman in this material world. This is transcendental beyond the platform of body. So that is a very important position. So every devotee in his perfectional stage has a spontaneous attraction to the Lord. Now, one devotee may have connection with Krishna as a child. They are, and you see some devotees, at least I know some devotees, especially in other sampradayas, who worship Gopal, and they feed him, they take care of him, they bathe him, and they think like Gopal is our child. So that means they are in parental mood. Some people actually worship Krishna like a friend. And of course, we are not in any of that platform, but I'm just talking about those devotees who are at that platform. So this attraction is sometimes called as lusty desire of the devotee. The lust in the devotee's excessive desire is to serve the Lord in a particular capacity, which is actually love. Such a desire may seem to be desire for enjoying the Lord, but actually the endeavor is to serve the Lord in that capacity. For an example, a devotee may be desiring to associate with the personality of Godhead as a coward friend. He will want to serve the Lord by assisting him in controlling the cows, pasturing ground. This may appear to be desire to enjoy the company of Lord, but actually it is spontaneous love serving him by assisting in managing the transcendental cows. Krishna says, Krishna was told by the Gopas, Krishna, we got a special lunch today. Krishna said, what is it? So Gopa said, close your eyes. We'll put in your mouth. Krishna opens his mouth, and what they do actually, they pluck the flowers and put it in Krishna's mouth. And Krishna like, thu, 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 thu. Can we do that? We can't do that because they have that bhav with Krishna. So next section is sensual attraction. The extreme desire to serve the Lord is manifest in transcendental land of Raja, and it is specifically manifested among the gopis. The gopis' love for Krishna is so elevated that for our understanding it is sometimes explained as being lusty desire because we cannot understand. The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Kaviraj Krishnadas, has explained the distinction between lusty desire and service attitude in the statement. Lusty desire refers to the desire to gratify one's personal senses, and transcendental desire refers to the desire for serving the senses of the Lord. That I am doing everything for the pleasure of the Lord. In the material world, there is no such thing as lovers wanting to please the senses of his beloved. Actually, in this material world, every wants mainly to gratify his own personal senses. The gopis, however, wanted nothing at all but to gratify the senses of the Lord. And there is no instance of this in the material world. Therefore, the gopis' excessive love for Krishna is sometimes described by scholars as being like the lusty desire of material world, but actually this should not be taken as a literal fact. It is simply a way of trying to understand the transcendental situation. Any comments or questions so far, Mataji?
No, Prabhu.
Okay. Great devotees up to the standard of Uddhava are very dear friends of the Lord, and they desire to follow in the footsteps of gopis. So the gopis' love for Krishna is certainly not material lusty desire. Otherwise, how could Uddhava aspire to follow in that footsteps? Another instance is Lord Chaitanya himself. After accepting the sannyas order of life, he was very, very strict about avoiding association with opposite sex. But still, he taught that there is no better method of worshipping Krishna than that conceived by the gopis. Even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself conceived the position of gopis to be highest. Thus, the gopis' method of worshipping the Lord, as if impelled by lusty desire, was praised very highly even by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This very fact means that although the attraction of gopis for Krishna appears to be lusty, it is not in the least bit material. Unless one is fully situated in the transcendental position where which we are not, the relationship of gopis with Krishna is very difficult to understand because we are so tinged with understanding that the attraction between man and woman is just to enjoy our each other's senses, but that's not how it works. That's why we cannot perceive Krishna and gopis relationship, because it appears to be just like an ordinary laying of young boys and girls. It is sometimes misinterpreted to be like the ordinary sex of the material world. Unfortunately, persons who cannot understand the transcendent nature of love affairs of gopis and Krishna take it for granted that Krishna's love affair with gopis are mundane transactions, and therefore they sometimes indulge in painting licentious pictures in some modernistic style. It's very, that's why these topics, maybe after this we finish, we should go to Srimad Bhagavatam, because I personally am not qualified to actually discuss these topics. I realize we are now getting into a different territory, so maybe we'll start Srimad Bhagavatam next week. I'll see what are the next chapter shows like. But the idea here is that unfortunately we have been living in this material world for so many ages, so many birth in various species, just lying in the attraction between opposite sex, whether an animal or in human form. We can't understand that aspect. This is an unfortunate situation for us. So one has to practice bhakti in such a way that one understand I'm on the platform of soul and actually going beyond and actually coming on the contact with Krishna in the form of servant, and slowly things manifest from that perspective. On the other hand, the lusty desire of Kubja, described by learned scholar as being almost lusty desire, Kubja was hunchbacked woman who also wanted Krishna with great ecstatic love, but her desire for Krishna was almost mundane, and so her love cannot be compared to the love of gopis. Kubja was actually in previous life when Lord Ram came, she was Shrupankha, and she had a desire to enjoy Lord Ram. And in Krishna Leela, she actually appeared as Kubja. Her loving affection for Krishna is called as Kama Paraya, or almost like Gopi's love for Krishna, but not exactly, because she was trying to enjoy her senses than Krishna's senses. So this is where this chapter 15 ends. Any comments, Mataji, so far?
No, Prabhu. Just to clarify,
Please.
Surpanakha was wanting to
Yeah.
marry Lakshman, isn't it?
Now she actually wanted to like marry Lord Ram, and then
Oh,
Lord Ram actually told her, "Oh, you know what? I'm just one Patni Vrata, so
mm,
I can't actually marry you. Why don't you marry my brother? Because he's also beautiful, he's also handsome. Why don't you go to him?" And she was like, "Okay." She went to and then Lakshman said, "You know what? I'm just the servant of Lord Ram. You are such a beautiful lady," because she disguised herself as a beautiful lady. And said, "Oh, you're a beautiful lady. You don't want to be a servant. Why don't you ask Lord Ram?" So they were joking, and finally she understood the joke. They are making fun of me, and she actually came back to her demon form, and then she was about to actually eat Mother Sita. She said, "I'm going to eat Mother Sita," and then Lakshmanji came and cut off her nose. But she initially
oh,
wanted to actually enjoy Lord Ram.
I see. Thank you for clarification.
No
Thank
problem. Now, again, we are continuing. This chapter is actually spontaneous devotional service further described. In the attitude of denizens of Vrindavan, such as Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, is to be found the ideal transaction concept of being the father and mother of Krishna. We see that Krishna and Yashoda Maya and Nanda Maharaj, they are in so much parental love for Krishna. Actually, no one can become the father or mother of Krishna, but a devotee's possession of such transcendental feeling is called love of Krishna in the parental relationship. One time, coming back to this beautiful aspect, a beautiful pastime which happens there. So Krishna and Subala, yeah. No, one second. Who was one of the friend of Krishna, Subal actually, yeah. So he said, um, Krishna, night you go home and I can't sleep within your separation. Please do something about it. Krishna came to Yashoda Maya and told about the situation. So Yashoda Maya invited one of the gopis. Her name is Chitra Sakhi. And Chitra Sakhi is a great painter. So Yashoda Maya said, "Why don't you paint Krishna's? Why don't you make Krishna's painting? And then he can give it to Subal." So she agreed. And one day Yashoda Maiya got Krishna ready, and then she brought him in front of Chitrasakhi, and Chitrasakhi started painting. Now she was painting, and after the painting is done, now she has to paint the color. But she's not able to find out the color for. She's not able to exactly find out what should be the exact color of Krishna's body. And she has a blessing of Mother Saraswati, and she requested Mother Saraswati, saying that, can you please help me identify what is the right color for Krishna's body? And Saraswati ji smiles. She says, even I don't know what is the color of Krishna's body. I can't exactly describe what exactly should be the 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 flavor, what should be the exact bluish complexion there. So then Chitrasakhi gets disappointed. But then Saraswati ji says, only one person knows Krishna's actual color, and that's Srimati Radharani. So Lalita Sakhi went to Srimati Radharani that I want to paint Krishna's, I want to do painting of Krishna, and I'm not able to recognize the right color for Krishna. And Srimati Radharani smiles and she says, look in my eyes, you will see the exact color of Krishna. And Chitrasakhi actually saw the real color of Krishna in Srimati Radharani's eyes. She went back and painted with the same color. And the next day she brought it to Yashoda Maya. Yashoda Maya, when she saw it, she was almost like crying, thinking that, "Arey, what a beautiful painting!" And she put it there and she called Krishna, Krishna, see what Chitrasakhi has brought for you. So when Krishna came and he saw, he said, Maya, why are you showing me a mirror? So they started laughing. Yashoda Maya said, this is not a mirror. This is a painting Chitrasakhi made of you. Krishna's like, wow, this is so great. And Yashoda Maya asked Chitrasakhi, what should I give you? She said, no, no, nothing needed. You just give me blessings. Yashoda Maya said, no, please, I want to give you something. You tell me, what do you want? Chitrasakhi said, if you want to give me something, give me your Krishna. And Yashoda Maya was like taken aback. She said a beautiful aspect. I can give up anything for Krishna, but I cannot give up Krishna. And Krishna was also say that I cannot live without Mother Yashoda. And Yashoda Maya cannot live without me. That is their love. So factually, no one can become the father or mother of Krishna, but a devotee's possession of such transcendental feeling is called love of Krishna in a parental relationship. The Rishnis, Krishna's relatives at Dwarka, also felt like that. So spontaneous love for Krishna in a parental relationship is found both among those denizens of Dwarka who belong to dynasty of Rishni and among the inhabitants of Vrindavan. So that relationship of parental relationship is there in Dwarka as well as in Vrindavan. Spontaneous love for Krishna is exhibited in Rishnis and the denizens of Vrindavan and eternally existing in them. In the stage of devotional service where regulative principles are followed, there is no necessity of discussing this love, for it must develop of itself at a more advanced stage. We are at very preliminary stage. But when we reach to that advanced stage, we develop that bhava in connection with Krishna. So, what is the eligibility for spontaneous devotional service? What is the qualification? Persons desiring to follow in the footsteps of such eternal devotees of the Lord as the Rishnis and Vrindavan denizens are called Raganuga devotees, which means that they are trying to attain to the perfection of those devotees. Like, if you want to be a perfect yoga person, you want to associate with someone who's expert in yoga. So, similar way, if someone wants to develop spontaneous devotional service, one has to follow in the footsteps of Rajavasis or Rishnis. Specifically, in this case, spontaneous devotional service mentioned in the parental love. These Raganuga devotees do not follow the regulative principles of devotional service very strictly, but by spontaneous nature they became attracted to the some of the eternal devotees such as Nanda or Yashoda, and they try to follow in their footsteps spontaneously. They don't have to actually artificially think that Are, I have to join this class, I have to do this, I have to go for a morning program, or I have to read, I have to chant. So there is no have to. I love to chant. I love to read. I love to hear. I love to do cooking for Krishna. And that is where the spontaneous devotional service comes. There is a gradual development of the ambition to become like a particular devotee, and this activity is called as Raga Nuga. So we must always remember, however, that such eagerness to follow in the footsteps of denizens of Vrindavan is not possible unless one is freed from material contamination. I want to eat, I want to sleep, I want to do this, I want to do that. And material contamination, doing activities which are not in connection with Krishna. In following the regulative principles of devotional service, there is a stage called as Anartha Nivrti. Anartha means unwanted. Nivrti means you leave unwanted things, which means the disappearance of all material contamination. All of us are on Anartha Nivrti stage. We have a lot of contamination which we are trying to get rid of. Sometimes someone is found imitating such devotional love, but factually he is not freed from anartha or unwanted habits. It has been seen that a so called devotee proclaims himself a follower of Nanda, Yashoda, or Gopis, while at the same time his abominable attraction for mundane sex life is visible. Such a manifestation of divine love is mere imitation and has no value. Spontaneous devotional service, hard business, not brain, and you don't want to look for cheap adoration from other people. When one is actually spontaneously attracted to the love principle of the gopis, there'll be found no trace of any mundane contamination in his character. Therefore, in the beginning, everyone should strictly follow the regulative principle of devotional service according to the injunction of scripture and spiritual master. This is for us. Strictly follow like a razor's edge. Scriptures and spiritual master. Only after the stage of liberation, when we are not affected by dvandva, duality of nature, happiness, distress, man, upman, garmi, sardi, when someone is not at all affected by that, that is a time actually we can actually aspire to actually get onto that platform. But we are on the bodily platform today. We think I have to eat, I have to do that, I have to take care of this. Not necessary. I'm not saying that we shouldn't take care of the body, but the point here is that we understand body is like a vehicle carrying the passenger, which is the soul. So we have to minimalize whatever we have. Just thinking about myself to reminding myself, minimize our connection with this material world. And can one actually aspire to follow in the footsteps of devotees in Vrindavan? It is said by Srila Rupa Goswami, when one is actually liberated from material contamination, one can always remember an eternal devotee in Vrindavan in order to love Krishna in the same capacity. So one may be attracted towards how how this Sakhi assists Srimati Radharani, how this Gopa assists Krishna, how this devotee assists Yashoda Maya and Nanda Maharaj, and they actually follow their footsteps. They want to do like them, but at a higher level, not imitating. And developing such an aptitude, one will always live in Vrindavan, even within his mind. The purport is that if it is possible, one should go and physically be present in Vrajabhumi Vrindavan and be engaged always in the service of the Lord, following the devotees in Vrajadam, the spiritual Rama Vraj. If it is not possible, however, to be physically present at Vrindavan, one can meditate anywhere on living in that situation, because mansic meditation has equivalent benefits as being physically performing that. Wherever,
Sorry, Prabhu, I did not understand that part. Can you
yeah,
explain?
If you remember, I gave an example about a Brahmana who was actually at the bank of Narmada, and he was very poor, didn't have any possessions. So he wanted,
Yes, I remember.
so that is, he was mansik, he was doing in mind, but he got the same benefit as physically doing that.
So the thing is, sometimes, okay, it's probably not the same. I'm not sure,
Hmm.
but sometimes when I do try to meditate, it's like I'm thinking of Krishna.
Hmm.
Thinking of, like, the pastime of
Yeah.
Krishna.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of meditation, to go into that, living in that
Yes.
uh, way that I am seeing that is happening in front of eyes, just like a
Yeah.
Ram Lila or Krishna Lila, like the play.
Yes. 100%. Exactly. So one should meditate on that. Maybe it would be artificially in the beginning. One should not try it when we are. This is very important aspect. When we are chanting, we should not try to meditate on that. We should actually focus on holy name, because we are actually at sadhaka level. We are practicing devotees. We are not perfected devotee. So at sadhaka level, we should actually try to hear every mantra very clearly, because Krishna's name and Krishna is not different from each other. However, at least I'm thinking about my stage. I theoretically yes, but practically it's very difficult for me. I have to hammer my mind that Krishna's holy name is not different. So I have to try to actually hear every mantra, every word in the mantra. And when we
Now,
actually
when you're chanting and
Hmm.
you're hearing the mantra at the same time,
Hmm.
but still thinking about Krishna, maybe the pastime or any other form, is that okay or no?
If it automatically comes, yes, it doesn't come automatically for me. it,
Okay.
it comes at a higher stage. I'm not at that stage, so I it's very difficult to say, but one has to see whether it is artificially I'm trying to bring that in, or it automatically. If it coming automatically, great, that is good. But at the same time, the focus, the mantra has to be heard crystal clear.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So when you're able to do that, when you're able to bring that, wonderful, that's very nice. But it shouldn't happen that I do not hear the mantra and I artificially try to bring that. And I'm not saying you are doing it, but I'm just trying to bring in the concept here.
Okay,
That's
Prabhu.
really important. And coming back to this point, which is, even while I'm not physically in Vrindavan, I can actually meditate on Vrindavan places like Yamuna is flowing, and then Govardhan, you're chanting in front of Govardhan. You can meditate on that, no problem. It's very nice. Makes sense, Madhav?
Thank you, Prabhu. About the
Thank you.
Govardhan Parbat, I was looking at some kind of reel somebody posted, and
Hmm.
they have like garbage everywhere.
Mataji, because
All
the
the devotees goes and they do that on that bhumi, like.
so Mataji, it is like today we went near my home, Mukunda, my son, he took me to one of the creek. So we went deep in forest. So we went there. There were plastics there also. Because the problem is not with the place, the problem is with people's attitude. So right now, Govardhan is not like that. That's what, because I went there, I did parikrama. But the problem is that still the people do not actually have that right understanding, and that's why people take bhakti very cheaply. For them, they will never actually have any other progress in their life, right? For them, bhakti is, oh yeah, yeah, I will show off other people. Unfortunately, that so these are the people who pollute those places, throw things on that, right? But
Yes.
it's nothing to do with the place for sure.
Thank you, Prabhu.
But it's a pretty clean place. I've been there. We walk there. We do parikrama.
It's
But
not
out,
that. It just like it hurts me because when I think that way, I'm like, at least इसको तो साफ रखो. Like,
100% Madhji. If you remember during COVID time, the Yamuna was flowing with the clean water they put in, because earlier these factories were sending their all garbage and poison in Yamuna. Yamuna is not different from Krishna. She's actually servant of Krishna. How can you do that? Because people's minds are polluted. They don't mind about polluting the dham. and Krishna's beautiful palaces, right, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
It's an unfortunate situation, and that's why I remember I went to Mayapur one last couple of years back.
Oh,
Yatra
you
was
went
there.
there?
Yeah, yeah. I go to Mayapur often.
Nice.
We went to Mayapur last year for Yatra actually. So in Mayapur, you have all Vrindavan places are there in Mayapur also, Maraji. So there is
Yes,
Radha Kund,
yes, for
Shyam
sure.
Kund there also.
I've been once I there, but when I was a kid, and that time I was not in this platform. But I
Yeah, so
remember, and it still attracts me the way it is.
very, very beautiful. There is Govardhan also, very small, but you can you if you do parikrama there, you get the same benefit. So there is a Radha Kund and Shyam Kund also. So we went there. So there was a foreigner who was there were people who threw plastics, bottles, and all this stuff, and she was actually cleaning that.
Yeah, I don't mind doing seva like that.
Fantastic. This is a very nice seva. Cleaning the dham because dham is not different from Krishna. Very nice. I just remembered it's very nice. Mayapur is beautiful. A devotee who is actually advanced in Krishna consciousness, who is constantly engaged in devotional service, should not manifest himself even though he has attained perfect. This is very important, Mataji. I want to share this. Maybe I'll spend some time on that part. That when we perfect our life, we see beautiful dreams of Krishna, or we have tears flowing from our eyes thinking about Krishna, we should not share with others because the mind is the greatest enemy of us. So,
Oh, I totally agree, and it happens with me, and I kind of backlash on it. It does affect me in the bhakti. So
yeah,
from now on, I'm not gonna emphasize on that. I
yeah.
wanted to like chupa ke rakho.
Exactly. जो deep bhakti है ना माताजी, that has to be a heart's business. Like for an example, a husband and wife's relationship, we don't disclose it outside. That is only between husband and wife.
Yes.
Bhakti is even more secret. So when we develop certain relationship with Krishna, we have some reciprocation from Krishna. We should not share with. We may
And
have.
also that it's like nazar lagna, like
Uh,
I did not really mention in that way, but it's
yeah.
just like I feel it felt happy, so I just wanted to share. But I think somehow I got back, like I'm not doing, I'm trying, but I'm not trying to finish my 16 rounds, and I'm getting backlogged on that because I think something happened, and I'm trying back again, but
Yes.
I will try not to do it again anymore.
Yes. Yeah. And that reciprocation goes away actually. So one should not do that. You may have one or two devotees who may be very close to your heart and who can understand that, which is very rare to find, but it is possible. Then you can share. But again, these things have to be confidential.
Thank you, Prabhu. I won't do that anymore.
Hare Krishna. The idea is that one should always continue to act as a neophyte devotee as long as one material body is there. Just imitating, oh no, I don't know anything. I'm just trying what to do. Activities and devotional service under regulative principles must be followed even by pure devotees. Not that I will not follow Ekadashi anymore, I will not chant my 16 or no. Even pure devotees do that. Even in fact, they go out 64 rounds. But when one realizes the actual position and relationship with the Lord, he can, along with discharging of regulative service, think within himself of the Lord under the guidance of associate of the Lord and develop his transcendental sentiments in following that associate. So one may just think about associate of the Lord and follow in the footsteps and then meditating on that, hearing Krishna Katha, reading and hearing Krishna's different pastimes, not to tell it to others, but actually meditating on those pastimes is wonderful. And reading such books actually like Nectar of Devotion, very, very nice, very important actually. So I'll finish this paragraph and then we'll continue next week. In this connection, we should be careful about the so-called Siddha Pravanali. Now, this is very important, very high topic, but very important. Siddha Pranali process is followed by a class of men or women, of course, who are not very authorized and who have manufactured their own way of devotional service. They imagine that they have become associate of the Lord simply by thinking of themselves like that. This external behavior is not at all according to regulative principles. The so-called Saddha Pranali process is followed by Prakrta Sahajyas, a pseudo sect of so-called Vaishnavas. In the opinion of Rupa Goswami, such activities are simply disturbance to the standard way of devotional service. People want cheap adoration. People want followers, and then they actually say, "Oh, I will give you Siddha Pranali. I'll give you a mantra, and then you will attain your form in Golok." Nonsense. One has to actually prove out their caliber, and Krishna will award. Not any regular person can come and tell you this is what this will give you as the real swarupa and spiritual world and all. No, this is very cheap thing. So I think we will cover here and we will continue next week. Any comments or questions here, Mataji, before we end?
No, Prabhu. But I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to point it out. Like I know Naresh Prabhu cannot attend,
Huh.
but if you think in any other class or any other day, if it is possible, let me know. I'm kind of open, so I can manage that.
You're saying rather than Monday, some other day. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like I don't mind any other day, but if any other people wants to join, and you can put me in a like other people all together, I'm okay with that as well.
Yeah, I think at this moment, Mataji, Bhagavad Gita is the only forum. Let's continue there. Maybe if you feel, I'll check with Naresh Prabhu if he's not able to do that. Then we will probably merge that into that one,
Okay.
or and
But I
maybe
think you were talking about next one will be Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Do you have Srimad Bhagavatam class going on or somewhere?
I have, but that's in Sindhi, Mataji. It's a different language actually.
Oh, okay, okay.
So that's where I was just thinking, um, maybe we will put this in pause. If you think, I'll ask Naresh Prabhu. I don't know. I know he's not
No,
able to
I'm
move.
okay with Monday. I'm just saying is he
Yeah.
also cannot join, so if he has any other day, I'm okay with that as well. If you also have any other day or something, you can let me know.
Yeah. Yes, Madhuri. I will look into that. But yeah, that makes sense actually. I'll find out, Madhuri.
No problem. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Madhuri, for joining, and we will continue next week. Thank you so much. Hare
Sure.
Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Prabhupada ki jai. Swarupa Goswami ki jai. Thank you. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.